I took my son Cameron to school today. He hates it when I drop him off, so I had no choice but to do it, right? On my way, after leaving, I had to drive by all the cemeteries. And I noticed there was a lot of commotion going on in there. I pulled over to the side of the road to get a closer look. Inside, there were people just wandering around. And I noticed them having maybe costumes on, but no flesh, nothing but bone. I called 911 and I said, "There are zombies in the graveyard. What's going on?" And the 911 operator said, "Sir, it's illegal to prank call 911. It's considered a felony." No. I'm serious. There are zombies walking around in the graveyard. Someone's got to do something about this. "Sir, please hold." "I'm not going to wait on hold. What are you talking?" The hold music came on. I called in sick to work. Figured today would be the best day to do it if there are zombies wandering around. I called my son and I told him, I'm coming to pick you up. We're gonna go get your mom and do something. I called my wife. I told her, "Don't move your beater of a car. I'm gonna pick you up in the Jeep. We're gonna get somewhere safe. We're gonna all get together and we're gonna go home and think of a game plan, but I'm gonna pick you up soon, so please come with me." I went to school to pick up my son. "Hey, Dad, are we gonna play hooky today?" "Yeah, something like that. We're gonna pick up your mother. And then maybe we'll go home and pick up some of our camping equipment." "What are we gonna need camping equipment for? It's the middle of the week." We'll figure it all out later." I picked up his mother, and I told them, "There's something strange going on. We're going to go home. We're going to get my guns and all of our machetes. And I'm going to call my friend, and we're going to hide somewhere safe." "Hide? What are you talking about, honey? What are we hiding from?" "We're going to all hear about it soon, but there's zombies in the graveyard. And they're getting up, and they're going to do stuff. And I don't know what, and I just want to be safe with all of us together." "Okay." Erin knew I wasn't one to exaggerate, so she obliged and came with me and didn't put up any fight whatsoever. We went to our house, we picked up all of our camping equipment, and we went to the Costco. It's near the cemetery, so people might not hide there, but it is a little dangerous. On our way there, my son saw missiles fly in overhead and smash into the cemetery. Huge plumes of fiery smoke erupted. Dad, they're shooting missiles at us. Like we're attacking ourselves here." I know, it's scary. But this is why we all have to get to safety." "Are we sure somewhere near the cemetery is safe, honey?" "Yeah, it's really all we have." I drove. There was no one near the back door, so I parked my Jeep near there. I texted my friend Lee. He opened up and he let us in. Come in, quick. We can't wait around." No sooner did my family get in than Lee closed the door behind us. Lee's the opening shift supervisor at the local Costco. He has access to the keys in the alarm system, so he would be the one to let us in so we could all be safe together as a family. "How many people do we have here, Lee?" "Oh, not very many. There's my family and my sister and her family. The 4 of us makes 12. Let's get to work, I guess. We're going to be in here for the long haul. Possibly?" Lee tucked in close to me. I don't know how long we're going to be here, but we'll work together and we'll find a way out." I think he didn't want his family to know that he was scared. Cameron and Aaron worked with Lee's family to make a compost heap out of the more rotten of the fruit and vegetables. I worked on cleaning my gun and getting everything together to ensure that I was going to be able to use it. I acquired an AK-47 years ago, and no one seemed to ever ask me for registration. I also never really took it out to fire it, so the ammo was a little old, and the gun was in need of a little bit more oil and cleaning. 1 o'clock came. We heard an eruption of gunfire and explosions outside. The entire building rattled in panic. The noise stopped shortly afterwards, and we got an Amber Alert on our phones. This is the military. If you haven't been able to immediately evacuate the major metropolitan areas, please shelter in place. We will work on methods to get you out safely and expediently at a later time. Lee and I both looked at each other, knowing what this really meant, that the army had pulled out. Lee couldn't let his family know. He stood up in front of everyone and said, "We have missiles, helicopters, guns, and tanks. Nothing will stop the American army. We will find a way to get through this, and we will come out victorious." His family all sang his praises. I was worried we weren't going to find a way out. Luckily, Costco had their bed displays out, so everyone got a brand new mattress to sleep on. That night, there were sounds of pounding and thumping at the Costco gates. No one broke through. Nothing broke in. No one slept well. The next morning, Lee and I found a way to get to the roof. He had a drone that he had acquired from inside the building. He flew it around to do surveillance, check out what we were looking at in the immediate area. You know, I heard there's an Egyptian exhibit, and in the exhibit there's an artifact that can control the dead. Control the dead? That's not a real thing, Lee. There's no way you can control the dead. We didn't even know the dead could get up until yesterday. I know. But I heard about it from a very credible source. Korothkin on YouTube. You heard about it from a YouTuber? Well, it's all we really have to go on right now. So it has to be correct, right? You're right. It's got to be a credible source. I'll follow, like, and subscribe right now. Maybe give him a comment and let him know that his information was incredibly helpful. Yes, you should definitely do that. I will do the same and let him know his life-saving information was incredibly valuable. They went back down into the Costco and began working with Bruce. They assembled some weapons to bring to Golden Gate Park in San Francisco so they could find this artifact and hopefully end the zombie apocalypse. They heard the prior day that all the roads had been used to escape the city, so they couldn't use the roads. They had to find a different way and a more clever way. They were too far from the Caltrain station, so they decided to use the BART. On a normal day, the BART station was only a few minutes' walk from where they were. With the zombies running around, today was anything but normal. We all kissed our families goodbye, and we left. Lee had made a bow staff for himself out of a mop, sharpened to a point. Bruce ended up taking a large amount of kitchen knives on display. I had my machete and my gun. So, well armed, we left. We had a rope on the roof of Costco to get down. There wasn't very many zombies around, but you never know. We had to quietly make our way through the parking lot. We got to the fence between the Trader Joe's and the Costco. We had to help Bruce get over. He took quite a bit of time. He was more hefty than either of us were. And he might have bent a little bit of the fence along the way. Him getting caught brought some attention to us. Bruce and Lee decided to poke some heads of zombies through the gate while we were making so much noise. Lee pointed out it's better that we take care of them now instead of having to contend with them when we get back. Bruce said, don't pull out your gun. It's going to make too much noise, and we're going to draw more of them in. And we don't want that right now. At the front of the Trader Joe's parking lot, there was a large truck that was parked. Someone tried to barricade themselves into this area to keep it safe. So there were no zombies in that parking lot. We walked up to the entrance of the building. Lee pulled out his lockpick set. Thought he might need it. But the doors opened up automatically, elegantly, with a cute little chime. The lights were broken inside. There were a lot of people that didn't look like they made it of the zombie apocalypse. Lee found the door at the other side of the store was broken and immediately started making his way to that. Bruce heard some people in the back. Hello? Are you okay? Do you need any help? I looked at Bruce like he just told me to be quiet. And now he's the one making noise. Through the shadows and the darkness, I saw a zombie dragging a half-eaten woman. Dead, cold, and lifeless. The zombie ended up walking his way slowly to Bruce. I grabbed Bruce by the hand and we started running to the other side. I was able to quickly jump through the hole without scratching myself or anything. Bruce, on the other hand, got himself caught in the glass at the other side. I had to take the butt of my gun to quickly break the glass. As Lee looked down at me and said, "Move, move, quick!" I was able to get Bruce out of the way as Lee slammed a whole row of baskets into the glass door. And he wedged it into place using some wood he found from Costco. That should hold them, but we need to move. We quickly ran down the remaining block that was left between the Trader Joe's and the BART station. Luckily, there was still power going, and cell phones. The Army didn't see any purpose in stopping either of these things, and BARTs have some sort of power to go off of if the main city grid goes down. We decided to look on YouTube how to run a BART train. After a quick 3-minute tutorial on this subject, we felt fully equipped to take a BART tram into the city. There were no zombies, no dead, nothing on the BART train with us. Maybe there were people sleeping, maybe there were people hiding. We didn't look around to find out. We got to the heart of San Francisco, 6th Street. From there, Bruce was able to acquire an electric car. So we were able to make our way all the way back to Golden Gate Park, where we knew we could find the mummy exhibit. Finally there, we got in. There were cars parked everywhere. We had to illegally double park. Not really a problem in the situation we were in, but the fact that the parking lot was full let us know there were zombies roaming throughout the entirety of the Academy of Science. We had to find a way quickly and quietly to the mummy exhibit and hope we wouldn't find anything too dangerous. Inside the Academy of Science, there was this roaming cloud of dust. Like ashes of a zombie had somehow materialized and come to life. There was a bird tapping above the rafters, trying to get in for whatever reason. The smoke reached out, shattered the glass, and grabbed the bird. Somewhere inside the swirl of smoke, something was happening to the bird. We didn't know what, but Lee felt the bones of the bird falling on his head. It wasn't anything to mess with, that's for sure. No one knew how to deal with something like that. We found our way to the mummy exhibit. All of us, fully armed with our weapons. A mummy was roaming around outside the exhibit. Not just a zombie, but something else that was dead, roaming, lurking, and possibly hunting. It found us almost immediately. Bruce went at it with his knives, quickly stabbing and jabbing at it, trying to make purchase, trying to find out where the weak spot in this mummy would be, plunging a cleaver into its skull while brandishing a short knife in his other hand. The mummy smiled at Bruce as it grabbed his free hand with both of its and plunged the knife into Bruce's chest. He couldn't even let out a scream. Lee and I immediately ran. We just took the opportunity. We couldn't save him. We didn't know how to. The mummy had a cleaver in his head. We got into the mummy exhibit. It got worse. There were 2 more mummies in there, and the cloud of dust was swirling overhead, like it knew we were coming, like it knew this was the area to protect. Lee saw a stone-shaped Ankh sitting in the middle of the exhibit and said, "That's what we need!" And he immediately charged for it and turned back and screamed at me, "Break all the pots with your guns! Do something!" I smiled as I finally got to fire my AK-47. Fully top-loaded with 3 magazines to spare, I began spraying down every single pot in the room. One of the mummies grabbed onto Lee, and it grinned at him as it began trying to chew at his face. I was able to break a pot, and luckily that was the pot to break. The mummy fell lifeless directly in front of Lee. Lee smiled at me, scared, but still quickly grabbing the tablet. Now the whirlwind of smoke and ash swirled around us, choking us, eliminating the air out of the room like a vacuum as the remaining mummy started to stalk me and got its way closer to me. Luckily, that is when I was able to fire around at both the remaining pots that held what has to have held their life essence in some capacity. The mummy and the smoke stopped. Lee smiled. We left the exhibit, but we made too much noise. I now had 1 magazine left. We had to find a way to get out of there. I lifted up my gun, ready to fire. Lee said, "No, stop!" Lee stood in front of me, lifted up the artifact, and said, "All of you will have to stop now!" All the mummies stopped, and they looked at the artifact in Lee's hand. They didn't stop for long. They knew what he had. He knew what he had, but he was using it wrong, and we had no idea that was the case. They all began to run at us in unison, the same foot hitting the floor at the same moment in time. We had to quickly get out of there. I was faster than Lee, but that means Lee got grabbed by a group of zombies. I couldn't let the artifact go. I couldn't let Lee go. Lee's been my friend for years. I turned around and I sprayed at all the zombies, holding Lee, and dragged him away. We were able to somehow get back to the car, and I threw Lee in the back seat, and we drove away. Down the street, Lee said, "Stop, stop. You have to stop me. I don't want to turn. I don't want to be seen by my family like this." I pulled over. Lee was bitten, head to toe. All of his clothes were torn and tattered. Bite marks all over his body. I knew if he was going to turn, he was going to turn. Lee said, "Take the artifact. Find a way to use it and save the world." He handed me this blood-soaked artifact. I put it in my bag. Lee closed his eyes, and he was gone. I couldn't wake him. I pulled him out of the car. I pulled out his weapon, and I did exactly what he asked. I couldn't look when I plunged his staff into his skull. The sickening sound felt like it echoed through my whole heart. I couldn't mourn for more than a moment before I heard the mummies running, marching in unison toward me. I had to leave him there. I got back in the car and I started driving back home. With one hand, I clumsily reloaded my magazines. With the other, I called my wife. "Erin, I'm coming home. I'm coming back to you. But there's a problem. I got the artifact, but it's a blessing and a curse. Whatever power it has over the zombies, it's also luring all the zombies to us. I'm coming back home. We'll get in the Jeep and we'll drive away. We'll get somewhere safer. I don't know where right now, but we'll come up with something. Erin, I love you." She told me the same in return. I was able to get ahead of the zombie problem, ahead of everything. I was able to get to the Costco, park the car by the rope that mere hours ago me and my friends climbed down from. I put the Ankh at the side of the building where I wanted all of the zombies to gather. They did. They did for me. I told my family, Where's Lee's family? Tell them to leave." "They already left. Everyone's gone. We waited for you." "Thank you." "Okay. Everything has to go perfectly. You drive by the front. Wait for me there. I'll climb down and I'll get to the car and we'll drive away as quickly as we can. But we need to take this artifact with us. Do you know where we're going?" "Yes. There's an observatory that will take a day's walk to get to. But driving, I'll get to it in a few hours." "Sounds like as good of a plan as any. Do we have a good amount of supplies?" "Everything's packed. We're all good. We're just waiting for you." "Okay, thank you." I moved the rope to the front side of the building, getting everything all support and stable. I grabbed the Ankh. I ran to the opposite side of the building. I could hear the zombies mob around the building, gathering their army. I took the rope and decided to throw the Ankh to the passenger seat inside the sunroof just to make sure it would be okay. It landed there without a problem, in all of the sleeping bags that my beautiful wife had packed. Then it was my turn. I jumped. I got scared halfway through the jump. I clenched onto the rope. I slammed my skull into the bottom of the T. I have to have lost consciousness for a moment or something. Down I fell, wrapping my leg inside the rope, all the way down. Somewhere before I hit the ground, my leg was stuck there, and I was completely trapped between the oncoming zombies and the safety my car provided. I screamed at my wife and son, "Go! Just leave! I'll be okay! Just get away!" I began opening fire on the zombies, spraying every single one of them with perfect headshot after perfect headshot. They had no chance to mob my family's car and to endanger my family's safety. I eliminated so many of them. My magazine felt endless, and my gun tasted heat like it had never felt before. Somewhere between all the shots everything went dark.